Once upon a time, there was a rich man. This man had 3 young daughters. 2 of his daughters were very arrogant and sassy, and the other one was very kind and hardworking. This kind girl's name was Beauty. One day, the rich man got the news that his ships were lost in the storm. He told his daughters that because of this, they could no longer be rich. Beauty was very sad about her father's situation and consoled him. The other 2 sisters complained about this situation all day. One morning, their father received the news that one of their missing ships had arrived in port.
My daughters, if my ship is still intact, I will bring you presents on the way home. Tell me, what do you want me to bring?
A diamond ring, a ruby stone, a gold bracelet.
And what about you, Beauty?
Just bring me a rose, Daddy. When the father arrived at the port after a long journey, he saw the wrecked state of his ship and was very sad. On his way home, he passed through a dark and cold forest. Lightning flashed in the sky. The trees almost fell from the speed of the wind. The man was so cold and frightened that he wanted some rest. But just then, he noticed a magnificent castle. The man entered the castle.
Hey, is there anyone here?
There was nobody around. Despite this, it was quite bright and warm inside. Moreover, the top of the dining table was filled with delicious food. When the poor man saw the food, he could not resist it and ate them all. While walking around the castle, he saw an empty bedroom and went inside and had a comfortable sleep. When he woke up the next morning, he found new clothes next to him.
This castle must belong to a kind fairy. I wish I could thank him.
When the man was about to leave the castle, he noticed roses in the garden.
I couldn't buy expensive gifts for my daughter, but at least I could take this rose for Beauty.
The man plucked one of the roses. At that moment, a very strong roar was heard. A terrible monster appeared from behind the trees. The man was so scared.
I fed you. I made you sleep comfortably. And you are plucking my roses. Is this how you think?
Forgive me, sir. I just wanted to take a rose for my daughter.
There is a punishment for what you did. You have to bring me the first person you meet on your way home, or I'll catch you and imprison you for a lifetime.
The man left sadly. Father, who couldn't see anyone along the way, saw that only Beauty was waiting for him when he got home, and their eyes met. So he regretfully told her what happened to him and the beast's will. Hearing this, the other sisters got very angry with Beauty.
If you hadn't asked our father for roses, this never would have happened to us. What if my eyes would meet my father's? What would happen then? I was going to surrender to a beast? Oh no!
I'm so sorry, Daddy. I will do whatever it takes to keep you away from being imprisoned. The man took Beauty with him and went to the beast's castle as he promised. They enter the dining room. Just then, a roar was heard again, and the beast came into the hall. Beauty was scared. But the ugly beast spoke very kindly to her.
Your father will be leaving my castle in a little while. And you? Will you continue to stay here voluntarily?
Yes, I will stay here voluntarily. Beauty hugged her father and sent him home. Then she started walking inside the castle and saw a door decorated with roses. Curiously, she entered. A piano on one side, a swing on the other, a huge bookshelf and thousands of books. The room was just like in her dreams. She saw a small note on the table. "My dear Queen, I want to see you happy always. Your wishes are commands for me." Beauty thought she wanted to see her father one more time. Then she went down to the hall for dinner. After a while, the ugly beast came into the hall.
My queen, may I accompany you to dinner?
"You are the owner of this castle. Why are you asking me?"
No. You are the owner of this place, Beauty. If you want, I'll go right away. I'm sure you find me very ugly anyway, don't you?
Beauty was very surprised at the beast's reply and did not know what to say.
I wish we got married and lived a happy life together.
"No, I don't want to marry you!" The beast then left the hall. However, at every dinner, he prepared wonderful meals for Beauty and was very kind to her. As the days passed, Beauty realized that she was getting used to the ugly beast and was having a good time with him. Moreover, she was no longer afraid of the beast. One day, Beauty told the beast that she wanted to go to her father because she missed him so much.
Of course you can go, but promise me you'll be back.
"I promise I will be back in 3 days."
Then put this ring on your finger. As soon as you take off the ring, you will find yourself in this castle again.
Beauty put on the ring and went to visit her father. Her father was very happy to see Beauty, but her sisters were very jealous of her.
Your ring is so ugly, and it doesn't look good on you at all.
3 days passed quickly. Beauty stayed there for the 4th day as she had so much fun with her father. However, she had a terrible nightmare in her sleep that night. In her nightmare, the beast was standing in the garden, sad and weary. As soon as she woke up, realizing that she missed him, Beauty immediately took the ring off her finger. Thus, she suddenly found herself in her room in the castle. She rushed down to the garden. The beast was indeed lying in the garden, exhausted with sadness, as she had seen in her nightmare. She came close to him and hugged him.
Wake up, beast, wake up! If something happens to you, I will never forgive myself.
The beast opened his eyes for a moment.
Beauty, I thought you wouldn't be back anymore. I became sick with sadness and became weak.
I realized I missed you while I was away, and I came to you voluntarily because I love you. I want to live a happy life in this castle with you.
At that moment, everywhere was covered with shimmering lights. She was looking around and was astonished at what was happening. When she turned her face to the beast again, she saw that there was a handsome prince in his place.
Huh? Oh, who are you? Where is the beast?
The beast is me, Beauty. I was under the influence of an evil spell. If you hadn't told me you loved me, I would have remained an ugly beast for the rest of my life.
Beauty has added happiness to her happiness, thanks to her good heart and true love. After that day, the handsome prince and Beauty lived happily ever after in the bright castle.
Once upon a time, there lived a beautiful princess in a big castle. One day, her father the king gave her a golden ball as a birthday present.
Happy birthday, my daughter.
Thank you, Father. The princess loved this golden ball. She started to spend all her time playing with it in the garden. One day, she went out with her ball and started to play with it, tossing it around. The princess came next to a little pond and kept on playing with the ball. Right at that moment, she could not catch the ball after she tossed it in the air, and the ball started to roll away. My ball! The princess ran after her golden ball, but the ball got faster and faster. Finally, the ball fell in the pond and sank into the deep waters. Oh no! The princess sat down next to the pond and desperately started to cry. My beautiful golden ball! How am I going to bring it back? Suddenly, she heard a voice.
Ribbit, my beautiful princess, why are you crying? Ribbit.
She looked around but could not figure out where the voice was coming from. When she looked closely, she realized that the voice was coming from the frog that was right next to the pond, looking at her. The frog leaped towards the princess and asked again after he got closer.
What's wrong, my beautiful princess? Why are you crying?
The princess got stunned when she saw a talking frog. A talking frog? How can that be?
Well, here I am, talking, beautiful princess. Now tell me, why are you crying?
Coming back to herself, the princess started to tell her story. The golden ball that my father gave me fell in the pond. It's already at the bottom. How am I going to get it back? The frog came next to her feet and made an offer.
My beautiful princess, I will bring back your ball, but in return I will need you to do me a favor.
The princess was curious. So what's the favor?
If you accept to be friends with me, I would like to live with you in the castle.
The princess thought about it and then accepted his offer. So the frog jumped in the water and went out of sight. A while later, he appeared with the golden ball and threw it to the princess. Reunited with her ball, the princess happily started to walk back to the castle. Seeing the princess leaving the frog behind, Frog yelled after her.
My beautiful princess, you forgot me. You promised to take me with you to the castle. Ribbit.
The princess yelled out from afar, laughing. How can an ugly frog like you even imagine to live with a beautiful princess like me?
Ribbit.
The princess left the frog right there and went back to her castle. In the evening, the king, queen, and the princess sat down at the dinner table. Right when they were starting to eat, they heard a knock on the door. The maid told them that a frog had arrived and told them that he was invited by the princess and asked permission to come in. The king, surprised, asked his daughter.
Would you like to tell us what's going on, my daughter?
Well, Daddy. The princess told all about what happened that morning at the pond.
If you gave a promise to the frog to save your ball, then you must keep your word for it.
The king ordered the maid to welcome the frog inside. A while later, the door opened and the little frog came in leaping and stopped next to the dinner table.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, my king, for allowing me in.
With one big jump, the frog landed next to the princess's plate. He looked at her, unhappy. The king ordered a plate for the frog, but the frog stopped it.
No need for a plate. I can eat from the princess's plate.
The frog started to eat from her plate. The princess was really upset with him, but she thought that he would leave after the dinner anyway, and didn't say anything. But the frog had no intentions to leave after the dinner. When she left the table, he followed the princess to her room. Time passed and the frog got sleepy.
My princess, I'm really sleepy. I'd like to sleep in your bed if you don't mind.
Afraid to upset her father, the princess had to say yes to that too. The frog jumped on her bed and put his head on her soft pillow. Trying not to show her anger, the princess laid next to the frog and slept. In the morning, the frog woke the princess up.
Good morning, my beautiful princess. I have one more wish from you. If you do that, I will leave right away.
Hearing that the ugly frog would leave soon, without making it obvious, the princess was extremely happy. All right, shoot. What is it now?
I want you to kiss me, my princess.
The princess jumped out of her bed furiously. How dare you? That is impossible! The smile on the frog's face disappeared, and instead a teardrop ran down his cheek. The princess thought for a while. Oh well, what's the big deal with one tiny kiss? Evidently, I won't see him ever again. And so she gave him a kiss. As soon as she kissed the frog, a bright white light covered the room. Due to the light, the princess couldn't see anything. After a short while, the light disappeared. The princess started to see again, but this time she could not believe her eyes. Right where the frog was standing a moment ago, there was a very handsome man instead. The princess was stunned with what she was seeing. She couldn't believe her eyes, and so she asked, "Who are you? What happened to the frog standing here?"
My beautiful princess, I am the prince of a land far away. The evil witch cast a spell on me and turned me into a frog. To break the spell, I had to spend one night next to a princess and get a kiss from her. Thanks to you, I am safe from being a frog forever.
The princess was very surprised, but also very happy with what she heard. They both went next to the king and told him all about it.
This should be the second lesson the frog has taught you, my dear daughter. We should not evaluate anyone by only their looks and judge without knowing the whole truth about them.
The king hosted the prince for a few more days in his castle. The prince and the princess came next to the pond where they first met.
My princess, will you marry me and come with me to my kingdom?
The princess smiled and nodded, accepting the prince's offer. And right at that moment, a sound broke the silence.
Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit.
They turned and looked where the sound came from. There was a frog next to the pond, looking at them. They held their breath and waited for him to talk. But it didn't happen. They both started laughing.
Don't worry, little froggy. I'm sure you too will find your princess one day.
And laughed a little more. After a short while, they got married and lived happily ever after.